Today we're going to take a look at the multiple choice single answer question type that's in the listening section of the PTE exam. Hi, I'm Sharon and I'm a PTE trainer here at Benchmark Education Solutions. Thanks for joining me today. In this video, we're going to take a look at how this question is scored. We'll do an example together, and I'll leave you with some important tips to remember when answering these questions. You might notice that this question type is the same as the multiple choice single answer question that appears in the reading section. In this case, though, you'll be listening to the text instead of reading it. In the PTE exam, there are 4 types of multiple choice questions, 2 in the reading section and 2 in the listening section. Okay, now let's look at an overview of what you need to remember for this question type. The listening version of the multiple choice single answer question type is the 5th task in the listening section. You'll hear a recording of around 30 to 60 seconds with one multiple choice question. There will be several answer options for each question, and you'll choose the one correct answer. Keep in mind that you'll have 5 seconds to prepare before the recording starts. During this time, you can read the question and the answer options and get a general idea of the theme of the text you'll hear. The biggest skill that this question type tests is your ability to listen actively and understand what you hear. We go into more detail on the various kinds of questions you might be asked in our in-depth lesson, but you can expect to see questions that test your ability to understand the theme, main idea, detailed information, purpose of the recording, the speaker's attitude or opinion, main differences, what the speaker may be inferring, and the meaning of certain words in context. Each question will be different, and you can expect to see any of those on test day. You'll have 2 to 3 of these questions, and you should spend no more than 2 to 3 minutes on each of them. Remember, pacing yourself is important on the exam. Now we'll look at how this question is scored. The scoring is really quite simple. This is part of your listening score, and each answer is either correct or incorrect. There is no partial credit and no negative scoring. A score of 1 is given for each correctly completed question, and a score of 0 is given for each incorrect answer. And again, 0 points is the minimum score, since negative marks are not given for this question type. Before we look at an example, I want to let you know that this example will be a bit longer than the recording you'll hear on test day. This extra challenge should help you with comprehension and time management. Here are a few tips to remember before you listen. First, use your preparation time to read your question and know what you should listen for. If you have time, look at the answer options and identify some keywords. These are the important words that tell you what to listen for. This may sound like a lot to do in just 5 seconds, and it is, but with time and practice, you can learn to quickly pull out key ideas. We'll go through a more detailed strategy in our in-depth lesson. And now let's do a sample question together. This is a classic example of the kinds of question and answer options you'll see when you take the exam. Take 5 seconds to look through the question and your answer options, and then we'll discuss it together. Okay, now let's talk about this for a minute. From looking at the question prompt, the keywords are O.J. Simpson, what, and imply. This is an open-ended question and quite general, and it's a question that's asking you about the speaker's attitude or opinion, and an inference question which asks you about the conclusions the speaker makes. We need to understand what the speaker is implying from what he or she says. Just from a quick glance at the answer options, I would pull out the following keywords. Option A, film, diverse social issues, and people relate. Option B, diverse social issues, and people relate. Option C, people identify. And option D, aspired, loved, and seduce everyone. My keywords might look different than yours, and that's fine. There isn't one right or wrong answer. It's just helpful to get an idea of what the answer options are about. It also helps you prepare for difficult situations, like how answer options A and B are extremely similar. Option A discusses a film about O.J.'s life, whereas option B just discusses his life. However, they both discuss social issues. You may not have time to thoroughly understand each and every answer option before you hear the recording, and that's fine. However, using these 5 seconds to prepare yourself for what you're about to hear is very important. You might also want to try taking brief notes as you listen to help you remember and understand what you heard. We'll go over these strategies more in our in-depth lesson. So now let's hear the recording. Take brief notes if you like, and be sure to glance at your answer options every now and then. You may find that as you listen, you can eliminate some of the answer options. And if you need more time to choose your answer, you can pause the video after the recording is finished. Are you ready? Here's the recording.
When you look at the tale of O.J. Simpson, it goes well beyond O.J. Simpson. And it really is a conversation and a story that involves everything in our culture. Race, celebrity, power, masculinity, the criminal justice system, the media. Like, it goes on and on and on and on. And I think people respond to this story specifically in terms of who they are and where they come from. Black, white, young, old, male, female. There's something in this film that will personally speak to you. O.J.'s drive, I think, was very simple, and he says it plainly in an interview that's in the first hour of the documentary. He said, "When I walk down the street, I want people to know me." He had an ambition to be famous from the time he was young. He didn't have an ambition to be the greatest football player ever. He didn't have an ambition to be rich. He had an ambition to be famous. Now, what that means in some ways is O.J. also had an ambition to be loved and loved by everybody. And I think it informs this story in a very powerful way because it speaks to how all of us were seduced by him.
All right, did you choose answer option B? Let's go through it together. This is the transcript of the text that proves the answer is B. The part that proves this answer starts off with, "It goes well beyond O.J. Simpson," and ends with, "There is something in this film that will personally speak to you," showing that people can personally relate to some of the issues mentioned. The diverse social issues are race, celebrity, power, masculinity, etc. Although the speaker mentions a film, he does not imply that this film is what discusses the social issues, but rather O.J.'s actual life. So you could have eliminated option A. Option C can be eliminated because the speaker doesn't necessarily say that people can identify with O.J. himself, but to the social issues. Option D is actually very tricky because the last part of the transcript includes many keywords from the option as well as the message. So why is it incorrect? Quite simply, it isn't an implication made by the speaker. It's a fact. Remember, to imply means to make an inference, something that we can conclude based on information from the speaker. This is why option B is correct, since it takes the information from the speaker and provides an accurate conclusion. Inference questions are one of the more difficult kinds of questions you can have for this task. Check out our in-depth video for more tips and strategies that you can use to help you find the correct answer. How did you do with your answer? I just have to remind you that this recording was long and the question was difficult, so I hope that going through the answer together helped you. And now I want to leave you with some important tips to remember for this question type. Like we've just seen in our example, make sure to understand the question and read it carefully. This will help you listen actively for specific things. In order to listen well, you should be using your preparation time wisely. This means pulling out some keywords from the questions and options beforehand. As you know, time management is important for this question type. Don't spend more than 2 to 3 minutes per question. If you have a difficult question, using the process of elimination can be very helpful. Even if your questions aren't difficult, this strategy can still help you work through the answer more quickly. And last, since there isn't any negative scoring with these questions, you should never leave the question blank. Always choose an answer. Thank you for joining me today. I do hope this gave you a better idea of what the multiple choice single answer question type in the listening section is all about. If you'd like to practice more PTE questions and learn more about the exam, check out our website here or watch our other videos, including the in-depth lesson with detailed strategies and more examples, and the helpful do's and don'ts video for this question type. You should also take our PTE speaking mock test and use our writing correction service. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.